What's going on YouTube? Few rival vehicles can say they've been trading blows since the 1980s. But yet, even with these 2020 models, the fierce Accord Camry struggle continues even today. They are both more similar and different from each other than ever before, which is why we're squaring these two off in a face-off comparison. So let's go ahead and find out which midsizer is on top for 2020. Alright, so kicking things off here with the pricing and equipment, we chose the Accord Sport and Camry SE, which are both the best-selling trims due to their killer combination of sport styling, equipment, and the very affordable price tag. So starting with the Accord, Honda doesn't really do options, so the only extra cost items we have are all-weather floor liners. With the $930 destination charge, the total rings in at $27,757. As far as the Camry SE, it is equipped identically, with only all-season floor mats as the extra option. With its $955 destination, the price ends up at $27,254. Now heading right into the exterior designs, these generations have completely shed the boring designs that they used to be known for. Both these versions have the upgraded sport styling. So what that means on the Camry is that it has a black mesh spindle grille and unique lower elements. The Accord also has a large black grille, and on the Sport, the top portion is darkened chrome instead of shiny chrome. As far as the headlights, both of them nicely come equipped with LEDs, but it is worth noting that both the low and high beams are LED on the Camry, while only the low beams are on the Accord. That being said though, the Accord does come with LED fog lights, which is something the Camry doesn't offer on any of its trims. Moving on to the rest of the styling, while they definitely look very different from each other, the actual feature content is the same, like the rear spoiler, partially LED taillights, and dual exhaust tips. So overall, both are pretty handsome looking and more sporty than you'd expect. Now moving beyond the appearances to the features, you'll find 18-inch alloys on the Camry compared to 19-inch alloys on the Accord. And then as far as the mirrors, neither of them will have heating or blind spot monitoring as equipped. But outside of those BSM systems, both Toyota and Honda throw in their entire advanced safety suites as standard equipment. They both include automatic forward emergency braking, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beam headlights. Once again on all models, even these lower end trims. When it comes to warranties, they share 3-year 36,000 mile bumper to bumper warranties and 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranties. Both also have roadside assistance, though only the Toyota will give you 2 years of complimentary maintenance. Well, that's it for the exteriors, so now let's check out the cabins before taking them on a spin. Now moving into the interiors, the first thing you'll notice is that neither of these two have smart entry systems on these mainstream trims. Instead, you'll have to operate the fob. And once inside, we have two very different interior designs. Obviously, both are black, and in terms of the seats, they are finished in leatherette on the outside edges and cloth in the middle. Neither have heating at this price point, but the Accord seats have more ways of adjustment at 12 versus 8 in the Camry. Cabin materials are also another important area. So starting with the Toyota, we have an all soft touch upper dashboard, followed by a cool looking faux aluminum trim and a leatherette padded middle area. The Accord has very similar materials with a soft touch dash and faux carbon fiber trim. However, the area where it takes the lead is with the door trim. Honda left it virtually unchanged from the higher end trims, meaning it has generous leather use and the faux carbon fiber trim, while the Camry simply uses padded plastic. Accord will take the overall materials point. Now to start the vehicles, Accord will have push to start, while Camry uses a key unless you add the $1,300 convenience package. After starting the two up, you'll notice that Accord uses a display for the entire left side of the gauge cluster. While it is aesthetically more premium looking, there are some practicality issues, like glare, and the fact that the tach and other options can't be visible at the same time, which makes the Camrys the more functional setup. And coming back to the steering wheels, they both have attractive designs and are leather wrapped. Next up, we have the very important aspect of storage, where surprisingly the Camry has the edge. While both of their center bins are roughly the same, the front storage has 2 layers in the Toyota. Additionally, we did notice that the Camry has 3 front USB ports instead of only 1 in the Accord. Now moving on to the shifters, both have regular ones and have the ability to shift manually via paddle shifters. One important difference though is that the Accord's backup camera has 3 views and active trajectory, which are missing on the Toyota. The next stop are the climate controls, where the Accord has standard dual zone automatic as opposed to a single zone setup in the Camry. Alrighty, so now let's go ahead and compare these audio systems. And now that brings us up to the infotainment systems. First of all, the Accord has an 8-inch display, while the Camry has a 7-inch display in this trim. Of course, neither of them will have navigation at this price point, but for 2020, both Accord and Camry now have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is new to the Camry. Otherwise, they're going to operate pretty much the same ways. Finally, the last thing to mention up front is the fact that neither of them has a moonroof at this price point. Now moving on to the rear areas of these two, both are very spacious, but Honda will offer an advantage here in both terms of legroom and headroom. Once in the back though, since these are lower end trims, neither offers much in terms of luxury items. Vents and heated seats come on only the more expensive trims, but both do have a padded fold-down armrest. Heading around to the trunks, like the back seats, the Accord will have an advantage, in this case a roughly 10% one. Alrighty, that's it for the interior, so now let's compare them under the hood and take them out on the road. So as we've seen throughout the video, Accord and Camry come to similar results via very different methods, and that continues under the hoods. Starting with the engines, Honda goes with a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, but Toyota opts for a larger naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Power ratings are 192 horsepower in the Honda and 203 horsepower in the Toyota. Alright, so that was our first takeoff here in the 2020 Camry. As you can tell, this is the 4-cylinder model. Like I said, the vast majority of you guys are going to choose this model. But here on this 4-cylinder, power is actually really pretty good. 203, and on this particular model, 206 horsepower is definitely more than most in the class offer. And it certainly does feel plenty peppy for a basic engine. So that was our first acceleration in this 1.5 liter Accord. Power is basically, as I remember, pretty good for a base engine. You're looking at 192, which is, while it is technically less than the Camry, it is also above most of the competition. They tend to be 175, 180, so you're still a little bit ahead. The other big difference is the transmissions. Toyota again went traditional with a regular 8-speed automatic, while Honda chose to do a continuously variable one. And I have to say they've done a good job with this transmission as well. The shifting has been very smooth. We do have paddle shifters as well for this XSE as well as the SE model.
I think they do a good job. Definitely the average person is not going to really notice. And that's really kind of a good thing about the CVT is riding along from the passenger seat, I feel like if I was oblivious to cars or whatever, that I would really have no idea that this is a CVT. I'd probably just think that it's a nice smooth transmission. And that's what you want.
Right. Traditional complaints that people have about CVT is not present here at all. There's no droning or anything like that. It really responds well. So while Honda's CVT is excellent and some people may not notice, I think it's fair to say that people generally prefer the feel of a traditional automatic and the ability to manually control real shifts instead of simulated ones. Now there are still all the rest of the driving dynamics, which is where the Accord fights back. It has one of the best ride and handling setups of any midsize sedan, feeling legitimately sporty and rewarding to drive. That being said, the thing that always strikes me when I drive the Accord, this new generation of the Accord, is just how agile and well balanced it is. Because Mason said, like he said, it needs to be comfortable, family-oriented, that stuff, but Honda kind of goes the extra mile with this ride and handling dynamic because it doesn't need to be like that. People don't necessarily expect that in this class, and they have done a fantastic job. And this chassis is just fantastic. Really buttoned down. It just does not really even feel like a midsize sedan, like the way the body shifts around as you go around corners. It just stays completely flat and planted. You don't have like the body roll that is pretty common. But the single biggest improvement of this generation of Camry has got to be the whole like dynamics of the vehicle. Switching to the new TNGA platform, and really just they've really buttoned down the driving dynamics. Previous generations of the Camry were not sporty in any way, shape, or form. But this feels pretty buttoned down. The steering, it is still light, but it's very accurate and precise. While this is the sportiest Camry ever made, it's still not quite as good as the Accord. Finally, finishing this part, the fuel economy difference is less than 5%. So there you have it. These two midsize sedan heavyweights are both great products, but it cannot be denied at this price point the Accord comes out on top. That's why it's the winner today, but honestly you cannot be faulted for choosing either of these excellent family sedans. And of course, as always, we encourage you to check these out in person to figure out which flavor is your best match. Anyways, thanks for joining us for another car confections comparison, and be sure to subscribe for more comparisons and our signature full review videos. Take care, everyone.